Welcome to the Retirement Made Easy podcast. I'm your host, Greg Gonzalez. My goal for the Retirement Made Easy podcast is to help you live a better life in retirement by giving you tools and information in a language that you can understand. At the end of the day, the technical jargon is not going to help you, especially if it goes right over your head. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about why some retirees are pissed off about the idea of a $15 minimum wage that's coming our way. Before we get started today, I wanted to remind listeners you can check out our website, which is retirementmadeeasypodcast.com. That's retirementmadeeasypodcast.com. On our website, you can check out previous episodes. You can also download some free resources, such as my retirement secret sauce and our 2020 tax planning guide. So check that out. Again, retirementmadeeasypodcast.com. You can also ask your questions for the podcast at our website. So check that out. Let's get started with our show today. Why retirees are pissed off about $15 minimum wage. I thought this would be a great title. There's a lot of states out there, and this is a social issue that has been tossed around over the past few years. And on today's show, we're going to discuss a case example of a state right next door to where I'm doing this podcast, which is Illinois. I have a lot of family, friends, clients over in Illinois. I was born there. I'm here in St. Louis, Missouri. Our minimum wage is $9.25 right now. Illinois will have $10 an hour minimum wage this year in 2020. And by 2025, their plan is to have $15 minimum wage. So many people are asking, what does $15 minimum wage have to do with retirees? And that's what we're going to talk about. Why this is such a huge issue that some people can see, but other people have blinders on. Let's put together a hypothetical example of a retiree living in Illinois. And this will give us a better idea of how they're going to be impacted in the coming years. Let's assume this retiree has been retired for a few years now over in Illinois. They live on a fixed pension. So this monthly pension they receive is, say, $2,000 a month. And it's a fixed pension, so meaning it doesn't have a cost of living adjustment or an inflation adjustment. So the same $2,000 they get per month in the first year of retirement is going to be the same $2,000 a month that they receive in the last year of retirement, except it's going to buy less goods with that $2,000 due to inflation. Let's also assume that this retiree has Social Security income, so they get a monthly Social Security check. Social Security, fortunately for the retiree, does have a cost of living adjustment associated with it. However, Social Security recipients don't always get a cost of living adjustment every year. In fact, every October, the Social Security Administration announces if there's going to be a cost of living adjustment the following year, which takes effect in January. This past January 2020, Social Security cost of living adjustment was 1.6%. And then over the last 10 years, the cost of living adjustment for Social Security recipients has been about 1.52%. 2010, 2011, you saw a 0% cost of living adjustment, meaning retirees who are receiving Social Security didn't even get a cost of living adjustment. So what you can assume is the raise you get from inflation for your Social Security is going to be minute, and you can kind of plan on that. But again, it's going to depend on inflation and how high that is. The last thing we'll assume about our hypothetical retiree living in Illinois is that they also withdraw money from their retirement savings. Let's assume that they have a 401k and maybe a Roth IRA that they draw from monthly to supplement their pension of $2,000 a month and their Social Security income that they get every month as well. Now, when $15 an hour minimum wage is announced over in Illinois, the retiree immediately takes a step back and says, how is this going to impact me? what is this going to do to my spending? In our example, let's just assume you own a grocery store. You own a grocery store in Illinois, and our retired friend goes shopping every single week for his or her groceries. You, as the grocery store owner, have some decisions to make because you pay all of your employees that work for you at your grocery store minimum wage. Again, this is hypothetical. We say that you pay all your cashiers, all your stockers, all of your workers, you pay $10 an hour minimum wage. And Illinois has told you that every year for the next 5 years, minimum wage is going to go up $1. So $10, then $11, then $12, and then in 2025, you will have to pay everyone $15 an hour. So at your grocery store, you will see your payroll costs, your labor costs go up 50% in just 5 short years. So you will have some serious decisions to make. The first thing you might consider doing is raising your prices every year for the next 5 years. If you want to remain profitable and stay in business, the first thing you would probably do is raise the prices on all your groceries. In fact, think about your produce. Let's say you buy all your produce from local farmers. The local farmers, they have to pay their workers more money now that minimum wage is going up every year. So the produce that you buy from the local farmers is going to cost you more money. So you're going to have to also increase your prices due to minimum wage going up from the suppliers where you buy your groceries from, your produce. Another thing you might consider is hiring less people. You might say that your labor costs, your payroll, is going up 10% a year. So you might say if we sell the same amount of groceries at the grocery store, maybe we hire 10% less people. So that might be one solution, is hiring less people. Then you might get an idea of having self-checkouts at the front of the store. So you might invest in some of those self-checkout machines so you don't have to pay cashiers an hourly minimum wage. And you won't be the only grocery store owner in town that's doing this. In fact, at a few grocery stores here in St. Louis, they already have these robots that go up and down all the aisles that take inventory of all of the items that are out of stock. Of all these choices you have to make, probably raising the cost of your groceries in your grocery store is going to be the easiest solution. This is terrible news for your retiree customer that comes in once a week to buy his groceries. All of a sudden, he is finding his groceries every year keep going up and up and up, and his Social Security benefit barely increases at all. His pension is fixed for life, and what he finds himself doing is withdrawing more and more money out of his 401k and Roth IRA every single year. And it doesn't stop at the grocery store. When he gets his oil changed, he runs into the same scenario. Again, minimum wage in Illinois going up from $10 an hour to $15 an hour in just a 5-year time frame. You can bet that the Jiffy Lube owner is going to increase the price that they charge to change your oil. What no one told this retiree was that the cost of goods was going to increase so much in retirement. When these retirees heard the reports on the news that $15 an hour minimum wage was headed their way, yes, it's good for the workers that are making the $10 an hour minimum wage right now, and their wages are going to increase 50% over the next 5 years. But what ends up happening is those costs just get passed off to the consumer, to the retiree. So the grocery store owner is going to increase his or her prices. The Jiffy Lube or the oil change center is going to, again, pass off the increase in labor costs or payroll costs off to their consumer, to the retiree that's paying to get his oil changed. Every single business is going to end up doing the same thing. So who really pays the increase in the minimum wage? It's really the consumer. It's the retiree that's out there that's living on the fixed pension, the Social Security that barely goes up, and their retirement assets. I know we used Illinois as our case study example because their increase to minimum wage to $15 an hour is so unique and it's so easy to understand. Not all states have this same law in place that's going to get to the destination of $15 an hour minimum wage in such a short time span. In fact, your own state, this would be something to check out. What does your state have as far as a plan to get to $15 an hour minimum wage? I know California and Washington, they already have some of the highest minimum wage of any state in this country. The state you live in or hope to retire to might have a minimum wage that's a lot lower. For our retired friend living over in Illinois, it's my prediction that in 5 years, in 2025, when minimum wage is $15 an hour, the retiree is going to be sitting there saying, you know, when I retired, nobody told me that the cost of an oil change would ever be $50. No one ever told me it would cost $9 to get a sub sandwich when it cost $4 for that same sub sandwich when I first retired. No one told me that my grocery bill would increase dramatically like it has over the past few years. Nobody told me that that fixed $2,000 a month pension that I have that's good for the rest of my life would be such a terrible idea because my costs keep going up and up and up, and I'm taking a fixed income into 30 years of rising living costs in retirement, and this seems like financial suicide. If I would have known this, I may have pushed off my retirement date. And if I would have known this, I would have made sure I save more for retirement. It seems like every year, a dollar buys less and less. And part of that is attributed to this big plan to get minimum wage to $15 an hour. Everywhere I look, costs are going up. Amazon has to pay its drivers now $15 an hour, where they used to pay them $10 an hour. So all of my Amazon purchases seem to get more and more expensive every year. Then I take my grandkids to McDonald's to buy them Happy Meals that they're always begging me for. Well, minimum wage impacts McDonald's as well. The price of a Happy Meal has gone up and up and up. It seems to me that minimum wage hurts the retiree more than it hurts anyone else. Just look at the grocery store owner. The grocery store owner can increase prices or come up with ways to cut costs. These will allow the business owner to make just as much money and be profitable and stay in business. Meanwhile, the consumer, and a lot of retirees out there are consumers of goods and services, they are left with flipping the bill. The retiree is going to have some important decisions to make as well, such as cutting living expenses. If living expenses has increased dramatically, a retiree might decide, where can I cut my expenses? The retiree has the pension every month, the Social Security every month, and the amount of money that he or she draws from retirement accounts, the 401k, the Roth IRA in this example, and that's a finite budget to live on. Now, it's safe to say that not all of the retirees' living expenses are going to go up dramatically in 5 years, such as their utility bill may not be impacted by this big increase in minimum wage. But certainly their grocery bill, getting their car serviced, getting their haircut or nails done, going out to eat, going to the movie theater. Those are all expenses that are likely to be impacted due to minimum wage going from $10 to $15 in just 5 short years. I truly hope this discussion has opened your eyes to show you a hypothetical retiree's perspective of minimum wage, and more specifically, $15 an hour minimum wage, and what that's going to do to their retirement planning over the next several years. In reality, some retirees plan to retire to different locations, different states, where the cost of living is lower, where the weather's warmer, and where the taxes are lower. And you cannot blame them one bit. Today we were talking about a retiree's perspective, but we could take this conversation one step further and look again at so many different small business owners. Imagine if you owned an ice cream shop and you paid a bunch of high school students, high school age kids, to run your ice cream shop. And now you have to pay, instead of $10 an hour, you have to pay them each $15 an hour. With overhead expenses going up at least 50% in 5 years, are you going to be able to keep your ice cream shop open? Or you've got to find a way to sell 50% more ice cream. The easier way to go about it is just to increase your prices on the ice cream cones. That's a whole nother discussion for another day, but it's definitely worth thinking about. If you're that pre-retiree or retiree out there, hopefully this whole discussion of minimum wage will open your eyes to one of the biggest fears that people have in retirement, and it's running out of money. When you see your living costs increasing dramatically like this, it will scare any retiree out there on a fixed income. There was a Gallup poll that was done about the biggest fears of Americans years back. What they found was the number one fear of Americans was public speaking. Number 2 and 3 were running out of money and death. Running out of money doesn't happen overnight. For retirees, the cost of living increases, or inflation as it's called, is like the silent killer. It's like blood pressure. You don't want to ignore checking your blood pressure, and you don't want to ignore the cost of living increases in retirement. In fact, for all the pre-retiree listeners out there, you want to plan on significant rises in the cost of living throughout your entire retirement. If you're not surprised one bit that in 30 years of retirement, your living costs are going to double, if not triple, then you'll be successful. But if you're surprised by it and you didn't have the chance to plan for it, you might be in trouble. It's like going camping with the person that is prepared for anything. You want to be that person. You want to be prepared no matter what retirement throws your way. If you're out there camping and it starts raining really hard, what are you going to do? Are you prepared? What if the bugs are really bad? Are you going to be able to handle that? What if your tent breaks? What's your backup plan? Just like we plan and prepare for a successful and enjoyable camping trip, we need to plan and prepare for a successful retirement. I hope this discussion has been helpful today. Your state may not be increasing minimum wage to $15 an hour like Illinois is planning to, but it might not be as far away as some might think. Thanks for listening today, and a reminder to check out our website, retirementmadeeasypodcast.com. You can download my free retirement secret sauce as well as our 2020 tax guide. Check those out, retirementmadeeasypodcast.com. You can also check out previous podcasts and submit any listener questions to greg@retirestl.com. I'd love to hear from you. That's it for this week's episode, and remember, always dream big. The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, please consult your attorney, financial advisor, or tax advisor prior to investing. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member of FINRA, SIPC.